Thank you for watching this video. To learn more about the Planning and Environmental Linkages, or PEL study, the Michigan Department of Transportation is conducting on I-75 in Monroe, Michigan. MDOT is using the PEL process to identify future transportation improvements in this area through a collaborative and integrated approach while considering environmental, community, and economic goals early in the transportation planning process. MDOT is building on previous studies conducted by the City of Monroe and others to understand the unique transportation challenges of this area and spark ideas for consideration. The specific study area we are focused on is the I-75 bridge over the River Raisin, as well as the Elm Avenue and Front Street interchanges. However, we will study how any changes to this area would impact I-75, the Dixie Highway interchange, La Pleasance Road interchange, and the local road network. The PEL study identifies environmental factors to determine potential impacts. These factors include air quality, biological, contamination, environmental justice, historic, noise, recreational, traffic, and water resources. The goal is to avoid impacts to environmental assets, mitigate impacts if they are likely to occur, and use the project to enrich these assets where possible. For example, by providing more access for environmental justice populations and improving connections to recreational assets in the area. MDOT previously met with our local advisory committee, the community, and stakeholders this past summer to understand some of the current challenges and opportunities in this area. Key considerations identified at those meetings included traffic operations, active transportation, and access to recreational assets, continued industrial growth along Front Street, and the desire to create a gateway from I-75 to downtown Monroe. Emerging from our engagement with stakeholders and the community was the purpose and needs statement for the project, which serves as a foundation of the PEL process and allows MDOT to analyze potential options to ensure they meet the purpose and need of the study. Alternative 1A would realign Front Street further south of its current location as an industrial access road to allow heavy truck traffic to more easily and safely access the freeway. Moderate improvements to the Elm Avenue interchange would be included. This option would make the Front Street interchange much safer, but would encroach into adjacent property and wetlands and require the expansion of the bridge over the railroad. Alternative 1B would include the same changes to Front Street and also close the Elm Avenue interchange, allowing for safer merging and weaving of traffic on I-75. Alternative 2A would reconfigure the Front Street interchange without relocating the street itself, allowing easier and safer access to the freeway with the same moderate improvements to the Elm Avenue interchange as in the previous alternative. This option would make the Front Street interchange much safer, but would encroach into adjacent property and wetlands, while also requiring 2 new bridges over the adjacent railroad. Alternative 2B includes the same modifications to Front Street, but also closes the Elm Avenue interchange, allowing for safer merging and weaving of traffic on I-75. Alternative 3A would introduce new collector distributor roads alongside I-75, which would maintain access to both Front Street and Elm Avenue interchanges. This option would allow traffic to access these new local roads without encroaching as much into the adjacent property or wetlands, but would require formal exiting and entering the freeway to the Dixie Highway and La Pleasance Road interchanges. Alternative 4A was one of the preferred options from the previous study and would realign Front Street further south of its current location and through the adjacent properties, again allowing easier and safer access to the freeway with the same moderate improvements to the Elm Avenue as previous alternatives. This option would make Front Street much safer, but would encroach into adjacent property and wetlands while also requiring expansion of the bridge over the railroad. Alternative 4B would include the same modifications to Front Street, but also close the Elm Avenue interchange, allowing for safer merging and weaving of traffic on I-75. Alternative 5A would reconstruct both interchanges in kind to limit impacts to adjacent properties and wetlands, while improving geometry to make it safer and easier to access the freeway. Alternative 5B would include the same modifications to Front Street, but also close the Elm Avenue interchange, allowing for safer merging and weaving of traffic on I-75. These alternatives will be evaluated against a series of criteria to determine how well they meet the purpose and need of the study, including active transportation, aesthetics, constructability, cost, environmental impacts, environmental justice, maintenance, right-of-way impacts, safety and operations, and wetland impacts. MDOT will take your input and the results of the evaluation process to refine options down to two practical alternatives that will be presented for consideration in early 2023. We will then look to refine those options down to a single locally acceptable alternative by spring 2023 and finalize our report. Please visit the links below to provide additional input, view more information about the study, and subscribe for updates.